subscribe to the channel, and comment down below saying I subscribe to this month's shoutout giveaway. Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to NBA Orb. What has been the sickest and coldest betrayal of the last 2 decades? Was it LeBron James burning the city of Cleveland on national television? Was it Michael Jordan getting dirty on the same group he used to belong to in labor negotiations? Or was it a fan base that rallied behind their hometown team just to see them depart for richer waters? With that said, here are 9 of the shiftiest NBA players. Number 1, Karl Malone.
To the mailman, to the hoop, in your face, bomber. Karl Malone with a hammer.
After 18 seasons with the Utah Jazz, the mailman left Salt Lake City and the franchise he had become the face of in free agency with the hope of winning a championship with the Jazz's sworn enemies, Shaq and Kobe's Los Angeles Lakers. The Lakers also managed to sign all-star point guard Gary Payton to form one of the first super teams in NBA history. Although many fans would likely give Karl Malone a pass for teaming up with Shaq, Kobe, and the Glove to chase the championship that had eluded him time and time again in his final year of his career, Malone took a $17.7 million pay cut to wear purple and gold. He agreed to a 1-year contract with $1.5 million after his $19.2 million a year deal with the Jazz expired. Number 2, Jason Kidd.
And here's Jason Kidd. All right. And Seltzer going back to pick up his equipment.
After defeating the Miami Heat in the 2011 NBA Finals, Jason Kidd told Mark Cuban that he would play for 2 more years and then transition into a front office role. What happened next is unknown, but Kidd decided to sign with the Knicks the same afternoon he had agreed to sign with the Mavs. What must have really driven Mark Cuban crazy was that Kidd signed with the Knicks for the same number of years and for the same exact amount of money, 3 years and $9.3 million. The sudden change of heart led Cuban to declare that the organization would not put J. Kidd's number in the rafters, which is a strong statement considering what he was able to do for the Mavericks organization. Number 3, Tracy McGrady.
How about the passion? Look at the animation on Tracy McGrady.
Tracy McGrady and his older cousin Vince Carter transformed the Toronto Raptors into a legitimate NBA franchise from 1998 to 2000. In those 2 seasons, the explosive cousins got the Raptors their first ever winning season in 2000, going 45-37, as well as the franchise's playoff appearance, a 3-0 sweep by the New York Knicks, but an important milestone nonetheless. The future was looking bright in Toronto with the 2 young swingmen who could jump out of the gym, but it all fell apart when McGrady signed a 6-year, $67.5 million contract with the Orlando Magic. The allure of playing alongside Grant Hill in front of friends and family was too strong for a young McGrady, and the Raptors were struggling to maintain relevance. To make matters worse, McGrady told Vince Carter on ESPN's The Jump in 2013 that he regretted leaving the Raptors, believing that the 2 of them could have been a contender for years to come. Number 4, Carmelo Anthony.
Anthony with the spin. Anthony, banks it home.
Anthony could not have betrayed the Nuggets in a worse fashion than he did. Melo decided it was time for him to leave Denver, which is an understandable stance seeing that the Nuggets were not going to win a championship anytime soon. But the way that Melo approached the situation could have been handled better in hindsight. Not only did Anthony make as much noise as possible wanting to leave the Nuggets, he basically forced Denver to trade him. This was tough for Denver because parting with your only superstar on the team is going to be a rough transition for the future, and that statement proved to be correct. Melo did not want to sign an extension and made his intentions clear that he would leave after the season ended. So, Denver cut its losses and decided that getting something from Melo was better than receiving nothing. The fans in the organization felt betrayed by Melo, but what can you do when a superstar finds the appeal of a big city, such as Los Angeles and New York, over Denver? Number 5, DeAndre Jordan.
And takes off from the dotted line.
The Clippers were frantic to retain Jordan. One night, most of Jordan's teammates came to his house for a meeting to try to convince Jordan to stay in Los Angeles. Even the owner, Steve Ballmer, tried to convince him, and ultimately it worked. Jordan ended up signing a 4-year, $88 million max contract with the Clippers. Jordan betrayed Mark Cuban, and frankly, he was smart to do so. Jordan has a better chance to win a championship with the Clippers anyways, but Jordan made the 2015 offseason another failed offseason for the Mavericks. Number 6, Dominique Denial. Dominique Wilkins was drafted number 3 overall in 1982 by the Utah Jazz. Wilkins refused to play in Utah and caused the Jazz to have to trade the human highlight film for John Drew and Freeman Williams. The Jazz would land Karl Malone in 1984 and get his running mate John Stockton the next season, and this likely never would have happened if Wilkins had remained in Utah, so maybe it's for the best. Then again, there is a crazy scenario that Wilkins, Malone, and Stockton end up being on the same team and become a trio comparable to the Lakers and Celtics, and the 80s landscape changes significantly. Number 7, Carlos Boozer. Boozer has an interesting history in the NBA. He was a 2-time NBA star, never an NBA champion, and certainly will not be a Hall of Famer. So why did I place him on this list? Because the way he betrayed the Cleveland Cavaliers in the 2004 offseason was such a spectacular mess, it needed to be on this list. Boozer was getting along nicely with LeBron, and the two looked as if they would be able to make their way to the finals. Because of this, the Cavs wanted to give Boozer a nice boost in his pay to make him stay. So the Cavs let Boozer opt out of his contract and become a restricted free agent. The Cavs offered him a 6-year, $39 million contract, and that was a number that was appealing to both sides. But the Utah Jazz then decided to come in and scoop him up with a 6-year, $70 $70 million contract that he agreed to. The Cavs could not match that offer because of the other salary cap considerations, so they had to let Boozer walk. The Cavs owner at the time, Gordon Gund, is quoted as saying, "In the final analysis, I decided to trust Carlos and show him the respect he asked for. He did not show that trust and respect in return." Boozer rejects that comment from Gund, saying that there was no commitment. There are still some harsh feelings between Boozer and the Cleveland Cavaliers management. Number 8, Steve Nash.
The crowd roars as Steve Nash re-enters the game with 3:57.
The Canadian point guard was coming off back-to-back All-Star appearances and 2 consecutive 52 or more wins with the Dallas Mavericks when he hit the free agency in 2004. Despite these achievements, Mark Cuban was reluctant to sign Steve Nash to a long, lucrative contract extension, having already committed roughly $50 million in salaries to Samaki Walker, Michael Finley, Anton Jamison, and Dirk Nowitzki. Steve Nash, meanwhile, received a 6-year, $63 million contract from the Phoenix Suns. He waited for Mavericks owner Mark Cuban to up his initial 4-year deal worth about $9 million annually, with a 5th year partially guaranteed, but Cuban didn't budge. So Nash turned his back on the team that allowed him to establish himself as a formidable point guard and made Cuban look like an absolute fool by winning 2 MVP awards. Number 9, Shaquille O'Neal. Shaq played center in the league, and he is arguably the best center to ever touch a basketball. Shaq was drafted first overall to the Orlando Magic in the 1992 draft. Shaq spent 4 years in Orlando and brought them to the finals in the 94 and 95 season, but the Magic were swept in 4 games by the Houston Rockets and the future Hall of Famers Hakeem Olajuwon and Clyde Drexler. So Shaq decided to leave the Magic after the 95 season with good reason. The Magic were not willing to pay Shaq the money that he deserved, and Shaq felt betrayed by the city. But the Magic were then left empty-handed because Shaq left in the 96 season, and the Magic did not recover until the arrival of Dwight Howard. This brings us to the end of our video. I hope you enjoyed it. Hit like if you did, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel so you don't miss out on any of our videos in the future. Also, watch the 2 videos that are on your screen because I'm sure you'll love them. With that, I'll see you in the next video.